Live on a sunny and cold Sunday afternoon in Northeast Ohio. Welcome, everybody, into the bullpen, brought to you by Bet Rivers. The Browns lose, but I got some moral victories for you. Not a big moral victory guy, but I got some moral victories for you. It's that time of the year, folks. It's late December, and not all bad when in a loss. It was actually not a bad loss, in my opinion, when there's nothing to play for anyway. Browns lose 23-20 to the Bills. We'll get into that. Plus, Baker Mayfield with an all-time choke job against the Carolina Panthers, another one of his former teams. That's all coming up right here in the bullpen. I want to let you know that Bet Rivers players who place a same-game parlay of at least $10 on NFL or NCAA football games will receive an entry into the weekly Squares game. Winning Squares can earn up to a $50 bonus bet per entry. See the Bet Rivers app or website for more details. I'll take your chat messages as well. Send them my way. And we'll start with the really bad news from this game beyond how anybody played. And I see Jim asked about Judkins. Yes, devastating injury for the Browns in this game. Quinshon Judkins in the first half. He had been having a pretty good first half. He had 13 touches for 51 yards in the first half, including catching 5 passes on 6 targets. It was a play that didn't even look bad when it first happened. And Quinshon gets a screen pass from Sanders, takes a hit as he's catching it. You don't notice anything right away. It didn't seem like a play where somebody got hurt, but obviously he did. A devastating injury, carted off the field, and the fears we've had are now justified. Ian Rappaport saying it is a broken leg for Quinshon Judkins, and they will be looking at his knee. So obviously they'll be doing is it an MRI? I guess it's an MRI to check out his knee. They'll probably have to wait for some swelling to go down. Who knows? But, I don't know how long he's going to be out, but obviously he's not going to play the rest of this season. And I guess depending on what the injury ends up being or what the extent of the injuries end up being, one of the few positions you thought you had solved, you might need an answer at running back next year too, depending on how bad this injury is to Quinshon Judkins. And obviously he had a nice rookie year, and it ends with this devastating injury. That's a real bummer. So we start with the bad news there. But let's get to some good news, even in a loss. I thought the Browns overall played a good game. It's interesting because early in the game, let's start with the Browns defense. Early in the game, it looked like the Browns were going to get blown out in terms of their defense unable to stop, right? The first 2 times the Bills had the ball, the first drive, 5 plays, 80 yards, quickly down the field for a touchdown. Second drive, 9 plays, 61 yards, touchdown. Third drive, 7 plays, 68 yards, touchdown. So the Bills obviously were up. They missed the 1 extra point, but they were up 20-10. And excuse me. Yeah, they were up 20-10, not 21-10, 20-10. And when they, after their 3 touchdowns to start the game, and you're like, oh my God, the Browns defense is terrible. The defense played very well after that. I mean, again, okay, he gave up 20 points. You can say, well, they didn't play a great game. And overall, I'm not going to say they played a great game. But they completely shut down this Bills offense after that third drive. Rest of the game, 3 for -12, 3 for 8. So that's what, 6 for -4, 4 for 2. So that's 10 for -2, 17 for 34, 20 for 22, 25 for 41, 30 plays for 50 yards after those 3 touchdowns. Now, in the end, it wasn't good enough, and they needed to play better in the first half. But considering how good Josh Allen, especially that running game, because he wasn't really throwing the ball that much. It was his legs, and it was mostly James Cook early in the game. They were dominating. The Browns defense, pretty much shut them down The rest of the way after that, they did get a field goal following the interception in the third quarter. But essentially, the Bills' offense did nothing after that third touchdown. But they had done enough. They scored 20. They get the field goal after the turnover, and they win this game 23-20. So overall, I thought it was a decent performance by the defense. Again, you got to give the other team some credit. I can't expect you hold Buffalo to 23 points. It's a pretty good job by the defense overall. It was a tale of two halves, right? James Cook did have a big game in terms of yards per attempt. But passing game, Josh Allen was 12 of 19, 130 yards. I thought it was one of the worst games I've ever seen Josh Allen play. They end up winning. Even on that second-to-last drive, he made some bad throws, missed guys. It was interesting. Defensively, as usual, Carson Schlesinger, just a monster game. He had 14 tackles, a sack, a tackle for a loss, 2 quarterback hits. He was all over the place in this one. Devin Bush continues to play well. And Myles Garrett got a half a sack on that play. It's kind of lame, but, I mean, it is what it is. So he's now a half sack. He's got to beat the record by more than a half a sack now because that half sack is lame. He didn't – I wouldn't want that. If I were him, I wouldn't even want that half sack, but whatever. It is what it is. Myles Garrett did not have much of an impact in this game. Did have 1 quarterback hit. They would obviously, as I said, they didn't throw the ball much. Only 19 pass attempts. When they did throw it, they got rid of it quickly. Schlesinger had the 1 legit sack in this game, but for the most part, the Bills just got rid of the ball quickly. It was a smart game plan that worked in the first 3 drives, and for them, they just held on. Now, let's get to the offense and what they did. I thought that Shedeur Sanders played a pretty good game here. Numbers don't look amazing. The 157 yards, not good. The 5.4 yards per attempt, not good. The 2 interceptions, not good. But if you look overall, he did complete more than 2/3 of his passes, which was promising because his completion percentage has been very low so far this season. And I thought he made some really nice throws. He made a great throw to who the hell was it? Why can't I remember who caught that ball? I think it was Malachi Corley. Was it Malachi Corley? I can't remember now. I got to go look up the play. Towards the end of the game, obviously the Browns couldn't get any. Yeah, it was Corley. He made that nice throw to Corley, that first play of the last drive when they were down 23-20. It was a tough play because he was forced out of the pocket. He had to make a perfect throw, and he did on that play. It's throws like that. And he didn't have any deep throws in this game. There were no throws down the field like we've seen in some of the other games. That just wasn't there. I mean, his longest throw of the day was 26 yards, and that was a catch and run with Travion Williams. So there really was nothing down the field. He did not throw the ball deep. But that play, that's a tough throw. That's about as tough a throw as it gets. That was a really nice throw there. Had it going with Fannin early. Nice touchdown pass to Fannin, obviously, on that first drive. But, the Browns, after that first drive, and they're usually good on the first drive, only 1 touchdown, not enough. I can't go overboard. I thought it was a solid game from Shedeur overall. I'd give him a B. I think he played pretty well in this game. Again, I can't go bananas. He threw for 150 yards. They only scored 20 points. So I'm not going to go crazy. The turnovers, so the first turnover, at first glance, I was like, well, that's not his fault. That ball's got to be caught. But he missed that throw. I mean, they got unlucky. He missed that throw. He threw it behind him. That's a tough throw. Not terrible, but not a good enough throw. The second interception was just a great play. It was a great play. So I give him a B because really, as just a passer, I would kind of give him like a B minus, maybe even a C. Not B minus, but I'll raise it up to a B because I like what he did running the ball. He had some really nice. He had some really nice runs. I thought it was a really good performance. Again, not good enough. He didn't win the game. 20 points is better, but not great. 2 picks, where you got at least partial blame. So I thought it was a decent game. And in terms of the rest of the team, I mean, they ran the ball much more effectively than they have. Shedeur with some great runs, as I mentioned, had led the team in rushing again. But Raheem Sanders ran it nicely. They had some good gadget plays with Malachi Corley. Quinshon had some nice runs early. Travion Williams had one nice run. They had to go deep in the depth chart with the injury to Judkins, and it'll be Sanders and Williams the rest of the way. All right, we got an update now. Further news. What do we got here? Judkins has a dislocated ankle and a fractured fibula. Oh, God. You see it there on the screen. That is bad. And Rappaport had said they were looking at the knee. I don't know if Stefanski maybe just didn't mention that. It's oh God, man, that's just brutal. Just brutal. One of the promising guys, and who knows? I don't know I don't know that we've seen a recovery timeline to this yet. I'll see if there's kind of anything out there that I can find at the moment. But obviously, this is just a devastating injury to one of the few bright spots on this defense on the offense. Okay, let's see what this say. Let's see here. This is Kevin Stefanski told reporters Quinshon Judkins suffered a dislocated ankle, a fractured fibula. The injury will require surgery. That's all I got there. So he's going to have surgery. Looking for more info. In terms of that's all I got for now. We'll have to see if this, and like I mentioned, Rappaport mentioned the knee too. This is just a devastating injury, but no kind of timeline just yet. As far as the rest of the offense, I mentioned the running game. The leading receiver was Travion Williams, believe it or not. 38 yards, a nice catch and run for 26 that he almost broke. Harold Fannin had 4 catches, 34 yards, and a touchdown. Jerry Jeudy was a non-factor in this game. 3 catches, 12 yards. Tillman 1 for 8. So not much doing in this game for the offense. Special teams had that bad snap or whatever the hell that was on the field goal attempt right at the end of the first half. Nothing too adventurous outside of that. Malachi Corley did have a nice kick return, a decent one, but they gave up also a nice kick return to Ray Davis, who actually had a couple of nice kick returns. And obviously the turnovers were costly. Could have been a different game, but it is what it is. So, another important thing, a couple other things before I take some comments, and I'll admit I'm not looking forward to the comments because I probably just by saying he was pretty good, I'm sure I pissed off everybody. The haters are going to say he was terrible, and the Shedeurians are going to say he was great. Since nobody has any middle ground, there's no such thing as middle ground anymore, and nobody lives in reality anymore. But anyway, I can't worry about that stuff. Couple other things from around the league. The Titans ran roughshod over the Kansas City Chiefs, winning 26-9 to get their third win of the year. The Giants, unfortunately, lost to the Vikings 16-13. Who's the other team we're looking at? Who's the other 2-win team? I can't think of it right now. Hold on. Oh, the Raiders. When do the Raiders play? They must be playing now. The Raiders, they're playing the Texans right now, so I assume they'll lose. But as of this moment, the Browns have moved up from the 4th pick in the draft to the 3rd pick in the draft. Because of all the teams with a 3-12 record, including Tennessee, who's now 3-12, the Browns have played based on win-loss record of their opponents, the easiest strength of schedule. And if they were tied for first right now, they'd have the first seat. They'd have the one pick because they have an easier strength of schedule as of now than the Giants and Vegas, who are ahead of them. So if Vegas somehow beats the Texans this afternoon, the Browns will have the second pick in the draft as of with 2 weeks to go. Now that could certainly change because obviously you're playing Pittsburgh will raise your strength of schedule a little bit. Cincinnati won't though. So the Browns will likely, if they win out, they're going to have at least the third pick most likely. I don't know who the Jets are playing the rest of the way. If they could lower their strength of schedule enough, I don't think so. Tennessee definitely can't because their strength of schedule is way out of the Browns. So if the Browns lose out, and wait a second, I think don't the Giants play the Raiders next week in the final week? Am I right about that? That would be great if they did. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. So if the Browns lose out, they are probably going to have the second pick in the draft because I'll assume that the Raiders lose this week to the Texans. And then last week, either the Raiders or Giants will get a win. Now, the Giants don't need a quarterback, so I think you'd rather the Giants have the one pick if you're the Browns. If you're thinking about a quarterback, I don't know. Did this game change your mind? I felt all along that I've seen enough of Shedeur Sanders that I would be comfortable seeing more. I'm not convinced that any of the quarterbacks in this draft are better than Sanders. I'm also not convinced he's better than them either. I said what I've said consistently. Shedeur has shown enough that I want to see more, and that if you're not sold on any of the quarterbacks or don't have the ability to draft any of the quarterbacks, then you take a wide receiver or an offensive lineman and you build around Shedeur, see how he plays next year, and make a decision at the end of next year. If you feel like you can get the quarterback and you love him, then you do that. It's that simple. If only it were, right? One other thing from today, the great Baker Mayfield, who my friend Jay Crawford recently said was a top 3 quarterback over the last 3 years. One of the craziest statements I've ever heard. Continues to be one of the worst quarterbacks in the league for the last 2 months. He, in a game for first place in the NFC South. There's 2 weeks left, by the way. Sorry. The Browns, but if the Browns lose out, they will have at least the second pick if they lose out because the Giants and Raiders are going to play each other. But even though there's one more week to go. But Baker Mayfield today in the battle for the NFC South, Bucs had the lead. It was a back and forth game with the Panthers. The Panthers took a 23-20 lead with 2 minutes and 20 seconds to go. Baker got the ball back, and he threw a terrible interception to end the game. He was 18 of 26, 145, a touchdown and a pick against Carolina. Got outdueled by Bryce Young. And he had a good, they were running the ball. Baker ran the ball well. Rashad White and Bucky Irving combined for, 24 carries for 116 yards. So they were running the ball well. Baker 4 for 49, but he could not get much going in the air. And then that pick at the end of the game, I don't know if you saw, it was just awful. Awful, awful throw by a quarterback who's playing terrible football. Absolutely terrible football. So there you have it. All right, let's get to some comments. Let's see if we can have some sanity. Nate Godwin, Dart sucks, Sanders sucks, Ward sucks, the whole class sucks. D'Emmanuel Comedy, nah, Bull, you was all right today. Just don't switch up Monday. I never switch up unless I have new information. Fresh Adet, please draft Mendoza and cut Shedeur. The Browns were a quarterback graveyard. Dime Doppler, Shuck played good today. The downbeat ruler, Sanders does not suck. He's very good. Look at his throws that he makes, his decisions. He's made some really elite decisions. Hard pressure. All that disrespect was met with aggression, like we're just going to get ran out of our own stadium. I don't even understand what that means. Gas and Terry. Get a top lineman, nice wideout to go with Sanders. Let's see. B-Star. Dart is overrated. Shedeur played well, better than Dart today. Dart had time. Shedeur had no time to throw. Truth be told, don't draft Mendoza. Gusbuster, get Mac Jones. I'll pass on Mac Jones. Wayne Willis, the Browns would waste a draft pick if they take another quarterback, just like they wasted a third-round pick on Gabriel. Jim Eagle, Shedeur has talent, but he has bad habits. That's the thing. I mean, you look at Shedeur, there's some things he does really well. And there's some things he really struggles with. And the question is, I think the ceiling is there. I mean, I think if he reaches his full potential, he's probably a good NFL quarterback. Will he get there? How long will it take? That's the question. That's what the Browns have to decide. He's clearly, again, we can't go crazy here. He hasn't been amazing. But he's played decently. He's played decently. There's been ups and downs. He played well. He played a good game in the Titans game. He played a pretty good game today. He played a really bad game last week. He played a bad game against the Niners. He played a bad half. He played okay against the Raiders. He had a bad half against the Ravens. It's been a mixed bag, as you'd expect for a rookie on a bad team. But watching him play, I want to see more. So if you're going to draft a quarterback in the first round, you better be sure he's better. Let's see. Steve says, pathetic. One hit off the receiver's hands. The other was tipped by the line because our line can't hold water, let alone form a clean pocket. Chris, hey, Bull, do you have an opinion about when Sanders got hurt and Gabriel came in and the crowd booed? I personally thought it was such a childish bad look. I was watching the game at that point, I was watching the game on my phone in my car, so the sound wasn't great. And I wasn't driving, so I was parked. But I was watching it on my phone, so it wasn't like I had it on the TV. I didn't notice that people were booing. So I'll have to look more into that. Maybe they thought Stefanski was benching Shedeur, and so that was it, which he wouldn't have done, but you never know. So there's no need to boo Dylan Gabriel right now. I agree, but I don't know how many people it was. Crow says, people look so hard to find good things to say about Shedeur. He was mid today, not enough to pass up on Mendoza more if you think they're the guys. I'm not going to judge that based on one game, Crow, but I've said that consistently. I don't know. I'm not arguing with you. If you're not going to make a decision on drafting a quarterback based on one performance today. Shedeur Sanders, obviously people are blaming him for the sacks, and then the defenders are saying it's not his fault. He is partially to blame on some of these sacks. There's no doubt about it. He was last week. He does hold on to the ball too long. And this tweet, you can't compare Shedeur Sanders to Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Patrick Mahomes. Those are elite players. And Shedeur, like on that fourth down player, he can't take a sack. He's learning. He's a rookie. Josh Allen made some bad plays. That sack he took was bad play by him. Let's see. JB Smooth, fair take, Bull. Us Shedeurians can get behind this take. Chris, hey, Bull, I think the Browns might have the second pick. The Browns, if they lose out. Do you think that's appealing for New England? Yes. I mean, and potentially, let's say the Browns don't want to take a quarterback. They have the second pick. You might be able to trade down and get a lot, potentially. Chris says, Bull, please, it doesn't matter if we have prime Tom Brady, our line stinks, or Steve. Come on, let's not get crazy. We've been through this already. The Browns would be better if they had better quarterback play overall this season. Let's not get carried away. All right, folks. I appreciate everything today. Thanks to everybody for stopping by. I'll be back on, this week with the holidays. We've got a Tuesday edition of the show, Dustin and I on Tuesday. And then Wednesday, I'll have, I think Zach Jackson will be on with me Wednesday. And that'll be it for this week with Christmas this week. Everybody, have a great day. In the end, we're now looking ahead to the draft pick. I know people want the team to win, but the draft pick is very important now. It's going to be fascinating to talk about all off season. Oh, yeah, Sean King. That's right. We'll have Sean King on. I knew that I was forgetting something. That's why I was hesitant. I think we'll have Sean King on tomorrow, Dustin Tuesday, live at 9, and then Zach Jackson Wednesday. That's the plan. We'll talk to you next time. Thanks to Z and Max for producing today. We'll talk to you next time in the bullpen with Adam the Bull, brought to you by Bet Rivers. See you, everybody.